Welcome back to 15th Street Automotive. We're working on a 2014 Chevy Cruze 1.8 non-turbo. This one here is got a check engine light with a PO 171 code in it. We need to diagnose why this thing's running lean. We're going to get in and diagnose why this thing's running lean. Let's go. Alright, we are using our top Don today because the my tail was acting up. Apparently I'm overdue for an update, so I'm doing the update on it right now. But there's cars to fix and the top Don's available, so we're going to use the top Don. I don't use this very much, so if I fumble around a little bit, then that's why. So we're going to figure out this thing, both of us together, because I rarely use this one. So we want to go to ECM. Oh, okay, there you go. We got a PO 171. That's our code. So like I said, I'm not real good with this scanner, so we're gonna play with it together. So I think I want to go to let's read the freeze frame on that code. Well, that's not very helpful. Data stream. So these are our options here. Let's go look at fuel trim data. So you always want to take just the PIDs that you want to look at, otherwise it makes the refresh really slow. So I go through and I'll pick the ones I want. I want to look at mass airflow, I want to look at long-term and short-term, and I'd like to look at my oxygen sensor 1 and 2. That's pretty good. And so we can graph those, and we can combine the graphs. I don't know if that's going to be super useful though. Okay, so mass airflow, this is a 1.8, so we should be somewhere around 2-ish for our mass airflow, and we're right at 2. I'd like to see that a little bit higher. That should be higher than 2 liters. I know this is a 1.8, and you're typically going to be looking for displacement at idle, but I don't know. Anything around 2 that's pretty close. So we'll put that on the back shelf, but I think that's something worth looking at. Okay, there's our long-term fuel trim, 28%. There's our code. That's why our code's there. Oxygen sensors, the bank 1 is the blue. It's switching nice from blue is 0.8 down to 0.1. The bank 2, or the rear oxygen sensor, is sitting right at, it drops down a little bit, but for the most part it's reading where we want to see. It's not super lean. So the oxygen sensors seem to be working. Bring the RPMs up a bit here. So those seem to be working pretty good. Long-term fuel trim's at 16, and the oxygen sensors are working, so they're perfectly happy having computer add 16-17% to it. So we either have more air than the computer's seeing coming in, or we have not enough fuel for the fuel that it is seeing, or for the air that it is seeing. That mass airflow's got me a little worried though. That's pretty darn low for for this engine. See, combine it, but let's take out the O2s. Put that one back in. So we've got, see now our O2 is down at 1.8. That's too low. We got some false air getting in there. There's only 1.8 grams per second going past the O2 or the mass airflow, and that's lower than what I'd like to see. Long term's 31%. Wow. Bring the RPMs up. It gets better when you bring the RPMs up. Yeah, we're getting false air in somewhere. We can check it for vacuum leaks. It doesn't. A vacuum leak will usually go all the way down to nothing when you bring the RPMs up, and we still got quite a bit of positive trim there. So let's check it for vacuum leaks. Make sure the purge valve isn't leaking. Those are pretty common on these. You can unplug that purge valve, and if it shouldn't, with it electrically unplugged, it shouldn't allow any air pass through, and those are pretty common. So let's check the purge valve. Let's check for vacuum leaks. We'll smoke it, see if there's any vacuum leaks, and then see where that gets us and go from there. Alright, because these engines are so prone to purge valve problems, I want to check that first. The purge valve is right here. I don't know if you can see that behind the scanner. Let me move that scanner a little bit. So, purge valve is right here. We can, let's unplug this thing electrically, see if our trims do anything strange. I don't know if, hopefully the scanner or the camera's picking it up. You can, with the purge unplugged, it's dropping like a rock. So we're already down to 16% at idle, dropping. That's that blue line here. See, it's dropping down. Let's get rid of here. Let me get rid of my mass airflow. Clean this up a little bit. So the scaling is the orange is short term, and this line here is 0, so it's staying below 0. Now our blue is down to 5%. So the purge should not be pulling ambient air enough to cause a lean condition. The purge, if it's purging, is going to be pulling canister air, which is typically got fumes in it. It's not going to offset your fuel trims like that. So we need to go after that purge valve and see what is happening on there. I was thinking maybe our problem might have been a vacuum leak, but all I've done is remove the electrical connector on the purge valve, and you can see we're to 5%, -3. So we got a combined 5, 6, 7 fuel trim. So I think what I need to do is I'll smoke that purge line, and that will tell me if we're getting false air somewhere. Might have maybe a crack in the canister, but we certainly shouldn't be getting straight air out of that canister. We could have a we could have a defective vent valve too. So let's put this up. I'll put the smoke machine on that purge line and we'll see what's going on. So I've got my purge line disconnected and it's hooked into my smoke machine. I use the motor vac. We've had that thing for 20 years. It's worked great. And it just uses shop air. So it's producing smoke right now. If we take this line off here, you can see it's dumping out some smoke. So looking for leaks, looking for whiffs of smoke. I don't see anything up here. Let's put this thing up in the air and see what we see underneath. We've got the smoke machine on that line, and this is the line right here. So if we follow this back, no smoke, no smoke. When we get back here, hopefully the camera's picking this up in my light, but you can see lots of smoke up there. Now the vent solenoid might be open and that's what's leaking, so let's close that vent solenoid and see if our smoke goes away. So we go to, get my light here, actuation tests, evap, vent solenoid. Okay, so it's venting right now, yep, so we want to go not venting. And you just heard it click. So let's see if our smoke is gone. Okay, so that took care of our smoke that was escaping there. I don't see any more smoke. So that was the leak, was the vent valve was open, but that's normally open. That's supposed to be like that. Looking through here, I don't see any more smoke. Nothing at the gas cap there. I don't see any more smoke coming out. So what we need to do is hook everything back up and run this thing closing the evap and see if that takes care of our problem too. This thing might just be over purging. Might be worthwhile just putting a purge valve on it just to see what it does. They're so common, but there's no leak on it, so it's not a purge system leak. It's not like a fresh air leak in the purge system because there's no smoke anywhere now. So let's hook this thing back up, close that vent valve, and see if our lean condition goes away. Open this thing up here. So we're going to do another test on this with this machine. We can put it on metered leak. So we're going to go by this flow meter here. What we'll do is we'll hook this different hose, this clear hose, up into the same port that we did this smoke. And what'll happen if we close this thing, so we've got it not venting now, so it's closed, and what'll happen is that this pumping air into the system through the flow meter, and if there's a leak, it'll continue to flow if it, oh, see there, it's dropping. So that tells us that the that system is not leaking, because if there was a leak, it would show full flow on there. We'll see how far it goes down. If it goes down below 2, then there's not a leak. Yeah, there's not a leak. Okay, so no leaks in that system. Now watch it here. I'm going to open up my evap vent valve, which is normally open. You'll see that start to flow. There it goes. So there's no leaks. We'll check the fuel trims with the vent valve closed and see what happens. So I tried to hook up both scanners at the same time. I've got a T adapter for the ALDL. As soon as I command that evap closed, it kicks the other scanner off. So there's something in the communication there that it doesn't like to do bidirectional while the other scanner's reading. Otherwise, we could monitor the trims at the same time that we're commanding the evap closed with a different scanner. You can't monitor trims and turn the evap off on the same screen. So I had two scanners hooked up, but it won't work. So that purge valve is pretty cheap, super easy to change. I'm not going to mess around anymore. I just ordered a purge valve. I'm going to put it on and see if our conditions improve. If they do not improve, then we'll continue on. But I suspect we have a bad purge valve that is over purging. If that's not the case, then our problem has to be in the canister, because if we isolate the purge system from the intake manifold, our problems go away. So the purge valve is on its way. I'm going to install it and I'll bring it back in. I just replaced that purge solenoid and the symptoms are gone. The system is all functioning now. It's all hooked up, and as you can tell, the fuel trim is long term is 7, short term is bouncing around right around 0. And I've already driven it. Been running here for about 20 minutes. It seems to be working just fine. I can't explain why that purge valve was doing what it was doing. It was functioning, but what's strange is it was always being purged before with the old purge valve, and now it doesn't. I mean, it only purges when it needs to. In fact, I had to test the function of the purge valve just to make sure it was working. The new one, I thought maybe I'd gotten a bad one out of the box. But I can go into the bidirectional controls of the scanner, and it's working just the way it's supposed to. I can take it from 15% duty cycle up to 100% duty cycle, and then back down, and it works. But the computer is not commanding it on like it was before, so I don't know. Pretty strange. Car's fixed though, so that's all I care about. I drove it probably 15 minutes. A good 10-mile road test, and the no codes formed for purge solenoid problems, and the lean condition is gone. So we're going to call this one a fix. I wish I could give you better information as to why that purge valve went bad, but don't forget, if you're fighting one of these lean codes and purge seems to be working, it wouldn't be a bad idea to try a purge valve. Super easy to change, and they're not very expensive. So probably should have done that a half hour ago, but anyway, this one's fixed. We're going to send it back to the customer. Thanks for watching.